for those who don't know, Bianca was the one who was assaulted. Bianca was the one who killed him. That made his death that much more sweeter because she was the one who got the revenge.
Of course.
Yeah, but again, and of course, actually, it was Eden who specifically brought me back to All My Children. Her, she was there for 10 years, and what can you say? She is one of the all-time greats in soap operas. And my personal preference is her chemistry with Elizabeth Hendrickson. That pairing, even though that didn't, turn out.
Yes, that was genius. And unfortunately, and this is just my own personal opinion, they went right to the cliff edge with that, and then they backed off. And I just thought that was, grow a set and go forward with this. I mean, that's my opinion, and I think America was ready for it. I really do. Here's
what pissed me off. They were ambiguous when they both left the show at the same time as, contract players. They both left. It was ambiguous when they left, but it wasn't until Eden came back for the Christmas 05 show and revealed that Bianca and Maggie were together. They got together off screen. Now that really, I agree with you on that. I know that
that was a cheat. That was a cheat. Yeah, I think that was badly done. I truly do.
I know you're I want to ask just a couple more questions. Jackson and Erica, that romance was on and off for 24 years, and what I wanted to know was when you first acted with her as Jackson, could you sense that there was chemistry between the two of you, or did you feel it took a while for it to develop?
I was so amazed that I was working with Susan Lucci so early on when I started the show there. I think our first story was I was flying her to see Travis, and the plane went down in the desert, and it was a real kind of it happened one night thing. And it wasn't until all of a sudden Travis was out and Jack was in that I kind of realized, one of the producers said, "Why are you surprised about this?" I said, "Well, I don't know. I mean, Travis and Erica were going, well, you guys are like catching lightning in a bottle. I mean, you had so much family time. Really? Okay, great." I was so concentrated on doing good work that I don't think I actually noticed it myself.
Yeah. But I do have to say that even that I don't know who was supposed to be, because of the whole internet thing or whatever, but when Jackson finally dumped Erica, again, not knowing any of the history, when I saw it originally, even I kind of stood up and applauded a little bit because this is Erica Kane we're talking about. She wants to be the star at the expense of everybody else, and to see Jackson, finally stand up to her after 24 years, I thought was...
Yeah, it took him 24 years to drop
I know,
that,
right?
But it's funny. When the last show was airing, I was on tour. I went on tour with my comedy act for about 3 months, and I was somewhere. I believe it was down in Florida. I think I was either in Tampa or in Sarasota when the last show aired, and of course there was a lot of news coverage, and they were in a bar somewhere. The news was in a bar somewhere. I think it was Chicago. And you could see the episode playing in the back, and the reporter was doing a stand-up, and that was the background, and you could see what scene was on. It was the scene where he says, "Frank, Eric, I don't give a damn about your feelings." And everybody in the bar stood up and applauded. And I thought, holy cow, I didn't know it was going to play like that exactly. That's kind of cool. So, yeah.
Yeah. And also, by the way, I agree with you about the whole who did JR shoot thing. I think that he turned it on.
He's the one that said it in the chat room, by the way. That's that Dom.
I think it would have been just exactly the kind of story that Agnes liked to write, and I think it would have been fascinating.
Yeah. And until All My Children comes back, if it ever does come back, that is the ending I will personally go to within my own mind. I will go ahead and let you go, but I have to just tell you again, sir, I am, even though it's not on the air, I am a huge All My Children fan. It was the soap opera that brought me back to being a soap opera fan. It was. Well,
I think that says a lot about a soap opera when it can reel you in on the last episode and keep you after it's off the air. That must be a pretty good show.
It sure was. It sure was. It was Eden Regal and Elizabeth Henderson who specifically brought me back. But then, once I saw the entire ensemble, including you, come together, I realized All My Children, and I think this is a bold statement, I don't think All My Children was necessarily a good soap opera so much, but I do think that All My Children is simply one of the best TV shows there ever was, and I hope and pray to God that it comes back in some form. And if
well,
it does,
I must. First of all, thank you. I must tell you that a lot of that had to do with our casting director back in the old days, Joan D'Incheco. She put together a cast of extremely talented, extremely interesting, extremely kind of not what you'd expect actors. And then when she retired, left the show, Judy Wilson came on, and Judy continued that. Judy would win the Casting Society of America Award every year. And that, they don't get enough credit. They would go out and find actors that were not only great actors, but would fit in an interesting way with the people who are already on the canvas. And that means more to the longevity and quality of a show than almost anything else. So, hats off to Joan D'Incheco and Judy Wilson, who I guess together probably cast that show for probably Joan was there when I got there. So, I mean, probably 30 or 35 years, those two were running the show, and they ran it just exactly the way it should be run in terms of casting, without a doubt.
You cannot have a good ensemble unless you hire people who bring in the good talent.
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. You're absolutely right about that.
And I'll say this one more time before I let you go. If All My Children does come back in some form, I do hope that you are a part of it, even if it's just the occasional cameo. It holds such a place in my heart. I'd be pissed if I wasn't asked. And if I was asked, of course I would say yes. I think there's more story to tell. I think that the fans deserve it, and I agree.
I surely would be honored to be asked to continue.
You cannot end All My Children on a guy shooting himself or whoever. You just can't. There has to be more than that. So I will go ahead and take my leave. Like I said, sir, it has been a pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure talking to you. Thanks for calling in.
And I do wish you the best of luck in whatever you do.
No, it's you also. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Dom.
Thank you, Dom.
You're welcome, Dom. Good night, all.
Good night.
Good night.
Well, Walt, I want to thank you so very much for joining us tonight and taking the time out to be with us. And we didn't even get to touch on some of the things that we wanted to talk about, so I do hope that you'll join us again in the future.
Sometime then, won't we? Absolutely. You have but to ask.
Okay, good. Thank you so much. And
all right.
I will get to another play down in Ottawa one of these days when you're up there next, because I so enjoyed it. And as always, we wish you only the best.
Thank you, and right back at you. Have a wonderful Christmas and New Year's, and we'll talk to you in 2013.
Okay, sounds good. Thank
you. You, Walt.
Good night, you too.
Take care. Good night.
Right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, there's so many things that Walt does that, I even found after the fact when I was on his website. So I would recommend all of our listeners that love Walt to check out his website. It's waltwilleyworld.com. And it has all his events. It has his bio. It has the stuff on there he was talking about that he's doing in the schools. And there's just a lot of information on there. So check it out, and you'll be happy you did. And maybe you'll get to go to one of his plays or stand-up comedy routines or something that he's got going on, because he does keep himself busy.
Very much. He is very, very busy. I think it was very true when he said he was busier now as semi-retired than he was when he was working. So, I think a lot of people, when they stop working and they start diving into stuff that they really have waited their whole working lives to get to do, they do tend to be a lot busier. So I know my dad attests to that all the time. So, that's really a great thing that he's doing. And in the schools, and the schools need more and more people like Walt Willey to come in and to be good role models and to teach the kids what's truly important. And he's doing such a great job with this program.
Yeah, he should be proud of what he does, and I'm sure his family is, and everybody that knows him is very proud of how he's, trying to help the kids and help the schools and help keep arts in our schools and give the kids a platform to build on.
Very true. Very true indeed.
I would love to have him back so soon, like oh my gosh, like maybe early 2013 if he's available, maybe after his Ustream, if it does get, put back until January. But our next guest, I'm even lost on what day it is. Today I kept thinking it was Wednesday.
Today is Tuesday. Tomorrow, I wish it were Wednesday because we would be that much closer to the weekend. But on Thursday, we have an independent recording artist. Actually, let me correct myself. He has actually been signed to Warner Brothers Records, and just recently. He's a Canadian artist, and his name is Ricky J, and he's an R&B soul artist. And he has a new album out called Paint the Town. So we're going to be talking with him, finding out all about that. And he's got
he's also an actor too.
Yes, he is. And you can check him out on YouTube. He's really, really a good singer. And so it's going to be real interesting to speak with him. It's the first single off of the album is called One Drop. And I've listened to it quite a few times. It's a great dance record. So if you're into that kind of music, believe me, you will enjoy Ricky J. So he is going to be on Thursday night at 7 p.m. Eastern.
And Friday?
Friday, we do not have anyone.
Did I catch you off guard?
Absolutely not. I was like, Friday, well, you never know. We may have someone Friday, and we may not have someone Friday. But I can tell you.
Okay. Good.
I've
trained you well.
Yes. As I said before, if we say we have someone secure, confirmed and secure, we don't do the little teaser tweets and things of that nature to tout you, to keep you in suspense. If we put something out there and say we have someone and we're keeping it under wraps, we have someone. And,
exactly.
So they're confirmed and so forth. We may have someone for Friday. We're kind of waiting. And we may not. So you'll just have to wait and see. So follow us on Twitter at Take2 Radio. That's the number 2. You can also check our website because we are constantly updating it pretty much on a daily basis, sometimes 2 or 3 times a day, it seems like. But that is take2radio.com. And you can also follow me at Dawn Take2 Radio. And that is how you can stay abreast of everything we're doing up to the second almost of what's happening when it's happening. And you'll hear it first from us. So
yes,
just have to stay tuned and see what happens.
Also, while it's the holiday, the Christmas holidays, we're going to be ending our show every time we have one with a song by Last Breath, and they're a band out of the UK, and they've made a song called Jingle All the Way. And anybody that downloads it from the website, it's www.lastbreathrock.weebly. It's WEEBLY.com. £2 for the UK and a little over $3 for the US. And if you download it, any of the money that they get from that is all going to Bryan House, and that's a hospice for children and young adults that unfortunately will not recuperate from their disease. And it also helps with their, bring their family so the family can spend time with them. It's on the same basis of the Ronald McDonald House that we have here in the U.S. So if you would please, give a couple dollars and try to help make a family, have a little bit happier holiday this year. And so with that, we're going to end, and I want to say thank you, everyone that joined us tonight. We do appreciate you listening and keeping up with us, and more people call in. The actors and the singers and the authors and whoever we have as a guest love to hear from you as well. So anytime you want to call, it's 1-718-506-1540, and press the number 1 so we know to pick up the call. And, Dawn, did you want to sign off?
Thank you to everyone who joined us tonight. We certainly appreciate you being here. If you're a first-time listener, we hope that you will be back with us again. We've got some great talent lined up and that we'll be bringing to you in the coming weeks. So just like I said, just follow us on Twitter for all the up-to-date information. So thank you very much, and thank you, Ms. Pam, for letting me be here with you again.
Yeah, and I was just going to thank you for joining me again tonight.
See, we're getting on the same page.
Of course.